not rest. I will not rest until that policy is reversed. I will do whatever is necessary to try to convince our police and our firemen to come back home, even if it means giving them tax abatements. That's right. If they are public safety people, they want to stay, we'll do whatever is humanly possible to make them stay. That's the Linden I dream of, a Linden where all of us who live here work here.
Thank you. And I want to bring your attention, ladies and gentlemen, that these three people are going to be on the ballot, and it's now your job, after having listened to them, to go and vote for one of the three. But they've done a good job, and we really want to appreciate it. I think thank you very much. Good work.
Thank you.
It's not easy to ask the question. If you be patient now, we're going to ask the candidates to get up and give up their positions so that we can then bring on the council president, the three council president candidates. Your three candidates for the Democratic position for Linden City Council President are ready, and it's been hard for them to sit here, so they're a little anxious. So if you don't mind and you can take your seats, we'll start again. I need a couple of timekeepers down here. I need two. Okay. We're going to have, the format's going to be very similar, and I really appreciate the people from the school who are doing the taping for this, because it will then allow the rest of the people in Linden to be able to see it on TV and get this information so that they too will be able to vote knowledgeably on June 4th. So I'd like to introduce the candidates who are here this evening, who are running for the position of Linden Council President. And again, you get to vote for one. And they, again, have chosen randomly how they will open and be first speakers. The way to my left is Carmen Sanchez Southward, and to her left is Jorge Alvarez, and then we have Mr. Richard Pichel. Correct? Okay. And they too will have an opening statement for 2 minutes, and Ms. Southward is going to start. So, Ms. Southward, for 2 minutes, why should they vote for you?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Carmen Southward. I'm a lifelong resident of Linden. My entire family lives here. I'm married, and I have a 12-year-old daughter. I do not work for the county, and I am not beholden to anyone. I am an experienced bilingual manager with a background in loss prevention and fraud, human resources, and most recently, education. I hold advanced degrees and several certifications. I currently supervise a department for a local school district which has a $19 million budget. I believe that I am the best qualified both educationally and professionally to hold the position of City Council President. Just like you, I am affected by higher taxes, increased crime, and decreased quality of life. And by the way, crime has increased. It has not decreased. I'm here because I care. I care about you. I care about me. I care about all my friends and family that live in Linden. I'm also not afraid of accountability. And I will hold others accountable, and I will hold them accountable publicly. I could give you some examples of lack of accountability currently happening today in our city, and one of which I was outraged about, and it's the conditions of our animal control facility. They're deplorable. No one on City Council took accountability for that issue when the residents from other cities came in to talk about it. It's our money. We'll insist and demand that we're part of the process, that our voices are heard, and that action is taken. Thank you.
Thank you. And the next speaker is Jorge Alvarez.
Thank you again to all the organizers for giving us a chance to this candidate forum. I appreciate the opportunity to discuss our issues facing our city. My name is George Alvarez. I am running for the City Council President on the Column A Democratic team. I come to you as a parent, homeowner, taxpayer, concerned about our city, disappointed by the way our city conducts its businesses, and outraged by the tax burden being placed on all of the Linden families. I came to this country at the age of 10. When I graduated high school, I went into the United States Navy to serve my country. When I got out of the Navy, I went part-time to night school, and I acquired my bachelor's degree in civil engineering. I have learned that success can only be achieved through hard work, because that's all I'll ever know. It's hard work. As council president, I will have 3 priorities. First, I will work all the time to get property taxes under control. They're way out of control right now, especially with the garbage tax that has been given to us. In the past 8 years, our city taxes have almost doubled. That's embarrassing, and we can do a lot better if we go through the whole budget line by line. Those who know me know I'm for the kids. Anything that I do is always for the kids. I'm known as Coach George. Linden can do a better job improving parks and recreational opportunities for all of our children. The city has so much to offer, but we're being limited by our own imaginations. I believe we can expand recreation opportunities for all of our kids. Finally, as council president, I will make sure our city conducts its business in a dignified manner. Now that should we assume that we've had too many instances over the past few years where the political powerful have hijacked our city's agendas. That has left our residents confused, frustrated, and with no expectations of what's going to happen next. That must change, that will change.
Thank
On
you.
June 3rd, okay, that's fine.
It's the way it goes.
Okay.
2 minutes. The next speaker is Richard Pichelle.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to thank the League of Women Voters for the opportunity to participate in this meet and greet with the Linden residents. The citizens of Linden have always been and will always be my top priority. Currently, there are too many obstacles preventing us from flourishing as a city we once were, a safe Linden with a government that focuses on the residents. For too long, we've been spiraling in a downward path, no hope for improvements. As council president, I will be sure to take everyone's concerns into consideration as we turn the city around for the better. With my police background, my previous experience as councilman, I feel that I have what it takes to make Linden a safe place for our children, and I have the drive to stand up against any political pressures that would try to tear down the city. My goal is to stabilize taxes, eliminate the garbage tax, introduce ratables, and follow through on bringing into our city a business administrator. I am not your typical politician. I will not stand here and make empty promises. I will make sure what I say and what I ask, what is asked of me, gets done. Tonight will be a start of a new era, a fresh start for this city. I know that we can unite to make Linden a better place. Over the past years, we have seen hopes and dreams diminished by false promises and weak leadership. This has to come to an end. As Linden residents, you need to take the first steps toward this positive change by voting June 3rd in the primary election. Every single person's voice is important, and if elected, I will make sure your voice is heard. Tonight, let's start and bring Linden back by moving forward. We can write a new chapter and meet these challenges head-on together. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I'm going to draw from the questions that the reporters had submitted to me on their way out. And I'm going to start with you, please, Ms. Southward. You may recall that there has been a discussion before Do you think there should be a change in Linden's form of government? Does Linden need council members? What are your thoughts on a possible change in form of government? In 1 minute.
I think there is some merit to a consideration of change in government. However, I feel that the power to make things happen should lie amongst the people and spread out over 11 members of council. I think that it's a fairer process, it's a more democratic process, it ensures more voices are heard and more discussions are had. I'm not going to totally discount that there could be some merit to changing the form of government. Personally, I would not support it. I think it's a fairer process when things are laid out over a bigger group of people. More fairness.
Mr. Alvarez, your thoughts on a change in form of government?
Thank you. Is there merit? Sure there is. But that's not the problem. The problem is leadership. We can change the form of government. If we still have the lack of leadership, then we're not going to go anywhere. What we have to do is we have to realize what we have. The type of government that we have right now is a person-to-person government. Yes, we have 10 wards and we have 10 councilmen, councilwomen that they deal with the people on a regular basis. We have a lot of these councilmen and councilwomen that get to know their whole neighborhood and get to know their whole ward. What we do need is leadership. It's not a change of government per se, but it's the leadership that is going to take us to the next era. Thank you.
Mr. Purcell.
Well, the funny thing is, when I was councilman, one of my constituents wrote a letter on change of form of government, and that was John Langen. And I was in total agreement with him because, when he wrote it, I would have liked to leave that up to the people to decide. You know, if you're going to change the form of government, you're going to have to change the way the area is set up. Then you're going to have to figure in a cost of how much it's going to cost. Then you're going to have 4 council members and 3 at large. So it's good to change the form of government, but like everybody was saying too, it should be up to the people. If the citizens of Linden want it changed, it's their town and they should decide on it. It shouldn't be left up to us, it should be left up to them. Thank you.
Okay. I'm going to start with you, Mr. Alvarez, on the next question, and it's the heavy-duty one. Taxes are a major issue across New Jersey as well as in Linden. Do you have any specific plans for handling city expenses and controlling taxes?
Well, there's 2 points here I want to make. First, once I come in as council president, I do work very closely with my partner, Roshana Cosby-Hurling, and what we're going to do is go through the budget line by line. There's a lot of expenditure that's not needed. Second, as everybody knows, or everybody who knows me, I'm a civil engineer. Being a civil engineer, not only I work with a lot of people that are willing to put money into a lot of new things, but I also deal with the other side of the people who are the ones who build them, the contractors. And in the middle, you have not only the county, the state, the DEP, DOT, a bunch of other letters which I have to deal with. What we have here between Roshana and I is we are business people. We are a team that we're able to talk with everybody, work with everybody, and be able to bring money into the city.
Ms. Southward.
I think that poor decisions are being made due to lack of leadership, and that's why we're in the situation that we're in now with our taxes. The projected tax revenue for 2014, just from the garbage tax, I believe is $1.7 million in the budget. It's shameful. I think that when you have the right leadership, and you do go through a budget line by line, but with the right leadership, there are certainly opportunities to pass savings back on to the homeowners. That's my position on it.
Okay. Mr. Purcell.
Okay, thank you. Taxes are high in the city, and they're high all over. But with our plan, myself and Derek Armstead, you have to have a plan in place. You need a short-term plan, a long-term plan. And you're going to have to work with the residents of your city. You got a lot of qualified people here where you could talk to them. They're big businessmen over in New York or around the state. Talk to them, sit down with them. What can we do for the city of Linden? Can we bring in ratables? Who can we get? What companies can we get in here? And that's what council's lacking. Right now, everybody talks about a budget. The budget's a zero-based budget, and you start from the bottom and you work your budget up. This year, it's $100 million, our city budget, and that's outrageous. We need ratables, we need help, we need somebody on council like me and Derek Armstead, where we hold everybody accountable for every cent they spend and every dollar that's brought into this city. Thank you.
Mr. Alvarez wants 30 seconds.
Yes,
to
thank you.
rebut.
It seems like the three of us are in accord with what we want to do. We want to go through the budget, we want to bring ratables, and yes, we want to do a lot of things, and it's a lot of words just being said. The truth is, I don't work for the city. I am not a councilman, and I was able to bring money from the county that was going to be spent somewhere else. I brought that money that was already spent in order to build something for our kids in way of a soccer field. A lot of money that wasn't going to come into Linden. If I can do this for something as plain as recreation, just imagine what I can do with Ms. Cosby for our whole city.
Ms. Southwood would like 30 seconds.
Accountability. Good leadership and accountability. So a person says that they're going to review something. Let's make that public and hold them accountable and have them show us exactly what they are changing. I noticed in the budget there's an expense for $400,000 for a new roof for City Hall. That's nice. At the expense of the taxpayers? Is that absolutely necessary? And does it take $400,000 to put a roof on City Hall? I think that accountability is key. You can give a lot of lip service, but show us the numbers and show us exactly what you're going to do. And when you don't do it, we want to see that as well.
30 seconds for
Thank
you,
I'll
Mr.
make it
Pichel.
quick. Thank you. I could show how good my leadership is. My first year on council, I was put in charge of PureGen, and we knew that wasn't going anywhere. But I looked back and saw how the city failed on projects. So I put in place a payment system where the first year I brought in $100,000 into the city, and the second year I brought in $150,000 into the city. So you got to look at how the city failed and don't do it that way anymore. You know, you work to bring ratables in. You have to look at how you failed and don't do it that way. Look the other way and work with the professionals that you bring into this city, especially a business administrator.
I'm going to have to say no, Ms. Southwood. Only one rebuttal per
okay.
question.
No problem.
Okay.
Thank you.
It's the way. You'll get another chance.
No problem.
Mr. Pichel, I'd like to start with you. How does a full-time mayor and city council president work together to ensure that the services are provided in the city?
Well, you have to work. Working together is a team. You have to be a team. You have to bring the services into the city. You have to make sure everybody's accountable. You have to sit as a good leader. You have to sit down with your department heads and you tell them what you need, what you want done, and you have to follow up. In the city, I noticed when I was councilman, you give a task to the council members who are chair of that department. You give them a task, but it's never followed through. Nobody knows if that task is completed. But as council president, I will make sure, once I give a task out, I will give a time limit for them to come back to me with a written report, every task that's given out.
Mr. Alvarez, how would you propose that the mayor and the president work together?
Well, working together, we're talking about we need a coach. Who better than the soccer coach right here? And that's what I do. It's very good what Mr. Pichel said, and I can read through the same list. The truth is, Ms. Cosby and I, we work together. We work together presently. I do a lot of things for the kids. I need something. I do not hesitate to make a phone call, and she makes the right phone calls that needs to be done. We work together in whatever we need. I work with another lady that's running for the 10th Ward, Ms. Hickey. She does the Cultural and Heritage Committee. She needs something, I'm right there for her. When Sandy hit, which was probably one of the lowest points that I can remember here in the city, got a phone call from Ms. Hickey. We need to do this. No hesitation. We work together. We work as a team. And for that, what we need? Leadership.
Ms. Southwood.
So if you've been paying close attention, you know that the city council and the mayor do not work well together. So it's nice to hear that everyone will work together, but it doesn't always work that way. And precisely in this form of government that Linden has, the city council president position is key because it sets the agenda. So it's important to have cohesiveness there. And I just need to follow up. This is the previous question, but it deals with accountability. Today, a mayoral candidate here today and a city council president here today, and I won't name names, but talking about accountability, were asked to vote on an ordinance that would track the salary, track the hours of 5 attorneys that work part-time for the city who make $100,000 a year. And those 2 candidates voted no. So you know what? Put your money where your mouth is. Accountability, show me.
Thank you. No, I'm sorry. Any more rebuttals?
Well, yeah, I got one.
Yes,
quick.
okay.
Well, everybody talks about leadership skills. I didn't mention one, everybody talks about, like, George being a coach. I'm a lieutenant with the county police, but one skill I have was I was elected member of the National Bomb Squad Commanders Advisory Board, where I represented bomb squads from Maine to West Virginia, and that's a leadership position. They came to me with their concerns for research and development and training. I brought those concerns to our federal partners and their vendors and had them made sure they got the training and the tools they needed. Excuse me. That's what I'm going to do for the city. I'm going to work 1,000% and use the resources that are available to me to make this city move forward.
Mr. Alvarez.
Yes, I
30
agree with
seconds.
I agree with Rich, with Mr. Puchel. Yes, when it comes to dealing with bombs, you have to make sure that people follow you and you're a leader. We don't have that problem here in Linden. Our problem here is we need businessmen. Okay, not police officers, nothing against you, Rich, okay, but we need businessmen. We need businessmen that can not only talk to people who are going to invest money in Linden, to contractors, and to the average person who's going to work here. That's what we need. We need somebody who can sit with anybody at any time and be able to talk business.
Yes, Ms. Southward.
Why should we pat each other on the back, and why should you praise us when we've done something good? You know what? You shouldn't. And I shouldn't praise the council when they do something good, because that's their job. There is a combined salary of $200,000 amongst all council members. Do your job. You did a good job? Great. What's next? What can you do for Linden tomorrow? Move on. We shouldn't focus on what was done today. I don't have a history with you because I've never been on the council, but I have a history in business. I hope you give me the opportunity to show you.
Thank you. I'm going to ask the next question to you, starting with you, Ms. Southward. How will you implement and see to it that Linden gets more good ratables?
Well, my background's not in business, so I'm not going to sit here and give you fluff. I think it starts with good leadership, and that's going to start with a good working relationship with our mayor. I think that it's very important to allow the small businessman to survive. So I do not think that the answer is a super Walmart where the GM property was, because you're going to hire folks at minimum wage. In fact, Walmart just gave their executives, their top executives, all a raise during these hard economic times and continue to pay people minimum wage. So the answer is a good working relationship and help the small businessman survive, reassess home values, and get the big businesses to stop getting tax breaks when the little guys like you and I are paying more. They have the money to pay the lawyers to get their taxes reduced. We don't, and we don't have the time.
Mr. Alvarez, how would you improve ratables for Linden?
Well, first let me say, I like Carmen's honesty. She says she doesn't know about business, but I like what she's saying. The only difference is I am a businessman. I deal as a civil engineer not only with a lot of investors. We're talking about people who are coming in saying, look, I got $4, $5, $6 million and I want to invest in this. You make it work. And on the other end, I have contractors, I have to build it. And in the middle, I have the city, the town, I have the state, a lot of ordinances that we have to follow. We have still some land It's brown land here in Linden, but still land that we can bring some industry. It's just a matter of talking to the right people. And that's what I'm going to do with Ms. Cosby. We are business people, and that's what we need here.
Mr. Pichelle, rateables.
Tough one to go over that one, huh? Rateables. Well, you're going to have to work. Like I said before, you're going to have to work with your people, qualified people that are in the city. You have a lot of qualified people who work in New York. I spoke to one person at his house, and he said to bring rateables in, he could vet he has a company that could vet a business administrator. I want somebody to come in here. The council voted for a business administrator. They're supposed to find one, vet one, and get the proper person in here. We don't want a business administrator that's political. We don't want one that's involved with any political party. We want one that's comes here with an open mind that could bring in rateables to the city and get the tax burden off the residents and off our seniors. Thank you.
Thank you. 30 seconds, Ms. Southworth.
I don't want a business administrator because that's another salary. And if you look at our budget and look at the salaries, it's atrocious. The people that are getting paid today need to do the job, or we need to fire them and find people who can. We do not need to add a salary to our budget so that you and I pay more. We have people in place that need to perform and be held accountable. And if they cannot, bye-bye.
Mr. Alvarez.
I'm in the perfect position here. I disagree with Ms. Southworth and I agree with Mr. Pichelle. I'm right in the middle. I do believe we need a business administrator, somebody who is business worthy and somebody who can run the things day to day. But, Rich, as you know, the business administrator will run the things. It is the mayor and, of course, the council president, who I'm going to be the mayor's right hand, that we're going to be bringing that business in. The business administrator will run things on a day-to-day basis. And, of course, we will have to get into the budget and be able that we can afford this. We're not going to be raising the budget simply to hire somebody else. We have to make sure the budget fits what we need. Thank you.
Mr. Pichelle, do you have any further comments?
Well, yes. Like George was saying, or Mr. Alvarez.
George.
That a business administrator, when they come in, I have to agree we need one because it's $100 million. You can't even run a $100 million business. Nobody on council could run a $100 million business. We need that person to come in here to streamline the city, and that's where this, like Mrs. Southworth said, if you're going to streamline the city, you're going to probably eliminate jobs or through attrition. That money you're saving will go towards a business administrator salary.
Thank you. I'm going to ask a question, Mr. Alvarez. It's quite different, and it's not easy. What would you propose to do to protect residents of Linden, particularly Tremley Point, from possible flooding resulting from what is known as the Soil Safe Project? Is there something that the City Council can do?
Well, as a civil engineer, not a soils engineer, but a civil engineer, we will have to research exactly what the problem is. Now, there's a certain part of Tremley that got hit very hard with Sandy, and I saw it because I was brought down there and we were trying to help the people there and spend a few days doing so. But we do have to see what type of soils it has if we're ever going to build there or rebuild there. What I will propose is what the state wants to do is buy the land, knock the house down, make it into green acres, and then make sure that the people not only get relocated, but they get relocated within Linden. I like the people I work with. I like the people. I like the parents from the kids. I deal with hundreds and hundreds of parents on a regular basis, and I want to keep everybody here. And Linden can change, and we can fix things.
Mr. Pichelle, can you address the flooding, possible flooding in Tremley Point?
Well, it's a tough issue, you know, where the houses are situated and everything, and the waterways, and that was, you know, what they call it, the worst storm ever. The only way you're going to find out the problem is that you have to sit down and work with your state and federal partners who know that type of situation, how to deal with it, you know, through probably moving the residents out, like George said, moving them out. We have numerous houses for sale in the city. We could help them with that, maybe with some tax breaks. They're going to have to go down there and do soil samples, and they're going to have to be sent out and see how, if it could be built on, or like he was saying, it's going to have to be green acres. But you have to definitely work with your state and federal